Hi, Max from Abstract Automation here. Today I want to show you how you can use the Blueprints feature in Zoho CRM to standardize your processes and automate the handoffs and notifications between your team members along the way of closing a sale. In this case, we're going to use the Deals module. So I pull up the Deals module in my Zoho CRM. Everybody is familiar with the concept of a deal going through multiple stages from start to finish, and certain pieces of information need to be collected along the way. And it also may involve different departments or team members along the way. I'm going to make up a scenario here where all of our deals start at needs analysis, and once they get finished with needs analysis, they need to go to qualification stage. In qualification stage, what we need to happen is the salesperson needs to pass this off to another department, and the potential customer is vetted through various qualification requirements, things a credit check, a background check, and just an overall looking to see if there's any reviews or reputation problems online about that potential customer. Once that team member allows that customer or deal to pass all of those checks, then it moves on to the next stage, and the original person who started the deal is notified that the deal can continue. Already created this blueprint. I'll just give you a quick peek here on my screen of what the blueprint looks like. A blueprint is like a flowchart. The deal starts at this needs analysis stage, and all of the white rectangles here are the stages of the deal. I removed a few stages just to simplify things here for this video. Our deal would move from needs analysis to qualification, and then from that point, it would either fulfill the qualification requirements and move on to negotiation review, or it would fail the qualification requirements and go to a lost closed sale. Here is the path, and what we can do is these colored shapes here will represent buttons that you will see at the top of the deal. The user pushing this deal from start to finish, they don't have to scroll around and look at the fields and figure out what they have to do next. They literally just have to push a button that's at the top of the deal that's appropriate at that time, and the system will automatically prompt that user with what fields to fill in. In this case, we're going to have a checklist for the qualification requirements that they're going to check and allow to pass or to fail. And it just makes the routine much more standardized and easier for your team to follow to get things done. This blueprint is published and active. Okay, so let's take one of these deals that's under the needs analysis area, and let's move it into qualification, and we'll kind of see all the things that happen. So let's open up this deal. We can see that it is currently at the needs analysis stage. I'm going to do whatever I need to do for my needs analysis work. Maybe that's gather information, write up a little report, whatever I need to do. And then once I'm complete, I'm finished with that part of the process, I'm going to click this button at the top, Needs Analysis Complete. That is the blueprint button that you saw in the flowchart previously. Now, in this case, the only requirement that's put on me for moving this from needs analysis over to qualification is I simply have to add some sort of note. So I might take a draft of that report, copy and paste it, put it in here, whatever details I have. In this case, I'm just going to type a quick sentence. So I'm just going to say everything looks good, and then save. So by clicking that button, it has now required me to enter a piece of information, and it has moved me into the next stage. Now we can see that this deal is currently under the qualification stage. All right, and now I have two buttons as options to click at the top of my deal. I have a button called qualification requirements, which will get me into the specifics of what needs to be passed to get this deal moved forward, or I have the option of clicking that the qualification has failed. Let's take a look at what these look like. If I click qualification requirements, I have a pop-up with two tabs. The first tab is just a message: potential clients must pass these checks before moving forward. And then I have a checklist tab. And so we see here a checklist for what requirements I have to move this deal forward. If we have two required passes or checks, I can check one, and then we can even save this, or it won't let me move all the way until I pass all my checks. I can save as a draft. And then what you'll get is a little filled in circle, semi-filled in, indicating that we've fulfilled some of the requirements here, but not all of them, okay? And so we can click this again, maybe at a later date. We've done the background check. Everything looks good. Now we're going to save and move forward. Now, a couple of other things have happened throughout those mouse clicks that you're not seeing on my screen. First of all, when the deal moved from the needs analysis stage to the qualification stage, an email automatically went to the person who is responsible for doing the qualification checks. So they were automatically notified through an email template, and they now know that they have to take care of that work. And on the flip side, when the qualification is either passed or failed, the original person that sent the deal to qualification gets a notification telling them that it either passed or failed those qualification checks. Just to show you where that lives in the blueprint, if we take, say here, the button that is clicked when the needs analysis is complete, we look at the After tab, you can see that there's an email notification here configured, notify qualification user. It's just as easy as setting up an email template, just like you would any other email template. So in this case, it's a very basic template. Please run qualification checks for the following deal in Zoho CRM. We have merge codes here or to fill in with the deal name, the potential client company name, the closing date of the deal, and then this is a clickable hyperlink. That person can just click on that link in the email in their inbox, and it will open up a tab in their browser and bring them straight to that deal in Zoho CRM. And the opposite happens when the qualification is passed or failed. A similar notification email goes back to the original user telling them that it's been completed, pass or fail. This is the whole idea of a blueprint and the concept of a checklist as well. Now, there are a few things about using those checklists built into the blueprint that you should be aware of, and there's an alternative workaround that I have if any of these things is a problem. The main issue is when we add a checklist, let me move this out of the way here. When we add a checklist to one of the steps in a blueprint, in this case, here's our checklist, qualification requirements, right? Credit score passed, background check passed. We can add another one here for reviews and reputation. But the issue here is that these are not actual fields on the deal record. They're just a checklist inside of the blueprint. So they're only useful in the blueprint transition itself when that screen pops up and you see that tab. In other words, I would not be able to run a report based on, say, give me a list of all the deals where the credit score passed the check, but the background check has not been done yet. I would not be able to write a report or get a view inside of my deals module of that information. I can only see that if I'm looking at one deal at a time in that transition. The good thing about using this checklist is they're super easy to add, to manipulate, to change, and to use. They have a very low overhead, but they are simple, and I cannot trigger any automation off of them either. I can trigger automation off of the entire deal moving from, say, qualification, moving forward to the next stage fully, or getting rejected fully to a lost deal, but I can't program automation on just one of these individual checks being checked alone. It's pretty easy. What you can do is just simply add checkbox fields to the deal record representing the same thing. In this case, I have to go to a deal that's currently in qualification stage to show you. But if we bring up a deal here that's under qualification, I have 3 regular checkbox fields on the deal record that could be used. And what you could do is you could simply select these fields to be displayed on your blueprint transition pop-up screen and only be shown to you when the deal is a qualification deal. This would allow you to trigger automations off of these individual checkboxes. It would also allow you to display this deal on a dashboard or a report based on those specific checkboxes and not just on the overall stage of the deal. But there's a little bit more overhead to it. You have to create the fields. You don't get that sort of, they're telling you that you checks passed and some of them you still have to do. Those are the drawbacks, the pros and cons. Everybody knows what they have to do. And it really goes a long way to get a business organized. All right, thank you very much. I hope this helps. Have a great day.